Perfect. We made it happen.
Yes.
Hi guys.
Hi.
So me and Nupur are together, and we are here in Delhi. And yes, we are excited for today's workshop. And it's not often that me and Nupur meet and we do a workshop together. The last was in Kigali in
Kigali, yeah,
February,
that was fun.
and it's May already. So yes, we are here to chit chat. This is just going to be our life updates and what's been happening, and diabetes burnout. I specifically want to talk about diabetes burnout. But yes, before we go into the workshop, let us know how we are doing, where you are logging in from. Leave us some comments. Tell us how your weekend has been, and yes, we are excited to chit chat with you all, and just waiting for a few more people to join in, and we can jump right into the session. So today's session is just going to be very chill. We are here sitting with our coffee and tea, and just our regular coffee catch up. If you have any questions regarding anything related to diabetes or its management, feel free to ask us, and we can speak in English, Hindi, and Marathi. So we are open to speaking in local languages today as well. So yes, hi everyone. Hi to everyone who's joining in.
Hi.
Let us know how your weekend is going. Hi Rajesh. Good to see
Hello.
you. So, if you have any questions regarding diabetes and anything that's been bothering you, or if you just want to share your experiences, feel free to do so in the chat. It's going to be a very chit chat, fun, conversational video. We want you guys to interact with us. Hi, Parul. How are you? Good to see
Hi.
you.
Good to see you.
So, like I said at the start, me and Nupur are here in Delhi, and after the workshop, we'll be meeting our Delhi community here. And it's probably my first time here in Delhi, like surprising. But yeah, I'm excited to try the food and let us know
And
anything.
please give us some
Yes.
recommendations. What should we have? And something that you guys like. And sorry, I was looking a little distracted because I was just sharing our post, so that you guys can join in and start coming in, like Snehal was saying. And it's so hot,
Yes.
right?
But I think it's okay. I
It's
think
okay.
it's
Yeah.
same as Mumbai,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
It's
hot.
not. Yeah,
It's really hot.
it's pretty
Yeah.
hot. And we actually came with our chhatas because we thought बारिश पड़ने वाली है. So we were
Yes. Both
prepared
our
for that.
mummies were like ready ki chhata leke jao. And
Exactly.
we came with our umbrellas. ठीक
Yeah.
है. It's not raining. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
good weather.
It's
Like
good
as long
weather.
as it doesn't rain.
Yeah. Oh, Old Delhi. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a quick look at the map to
Yeah, yeah.
understand where we
Where we
are.
are and figure it out if
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
quite far.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't remember when I had bhature last. Nupur,
I
like
know it is so
it's
yummy,
been
but it's
years,
been a long time.
more than a decade. I feel like I
Yeah,
haven't. I had a bhatura and then I remember my sugars like spiking for like 10 hours straight.
yeah,
And then I was like, never again. I don't want to eat it again. But yeah, I'm tempted to try the chole at
Chole,
least.
yeah,
Yeah, chole
exactly.
and
The
some
chole is
jeera rice that will be like really
very
yummy.
yummy for
Sounds also
sure.
yummy.
Okay, there are two, even Kirti, like Parul is also
Oh
recommending
my god, I'm
chole
tempted
bhature
now.
now.
Okay, we'll just visually
Yeah,
eat it.
exactly. Or we'll just have the chole.
Yeah, we'll have the chole for sure. Chole for sure.
Yeah. And Renu, do you have any suggestions for what we should eat? And so we're in Delhi for everyone who's just joining, and for now we're having chai and coffee. But what should we have for dinner? Please tell us, and we seek your recommendations. And today's workshop is, like Snehal was saying, just a fun, relaxed workshop. We met, we're together, and we were excited about that. And if there's anything that you guys want to ask or share. And so, by the way, I realized that we haven't introduced ourselves because
Yeah.
we know most people, and people know us. So
Yeah.
I'll go first. I'm Nupur, and I've had type 1 diabetes for 29 years. And
I'm Snehal. I've lived with type 1 diabetes for the past 23 years. And yes, we are here. We are excited. Okay, there's one question already. by Priyanka. What's your daily routine? I mean, what do you have day to day in life? You want to take that up?
Yeah. Priyanka, I'm guessing you're asking about food. If so, like you could maybe comment. Hi, Chandan, how are you?
Hi, Chandan.
Um, so, but so I do low carb, and my food routine is I like to keep it like predictable and a little bit uh, how do you say? I don't know. Some people might call it boring, but I know what to expect. So for me, I have 2 meals a day most times. Unless I'm traveling or there's
Yeah.
something else going on. Like today, I had something. We both had an early morning. We left.
I think we left at like 5, 6, yeah,
Exactly.
from our homes.
Yeah. So I had a little salad on the flight this morning, and then in the afternoon, we were recording a podcast. And okay, food routine, great. And so this afternoon we had some and a very assortment of things, actually a little bit of dhokla and
Yeah, it was not our regular
not,
meal,
yeah,
but we had it. We enjoyed it. We were
yeah,
like, we are in Delhi, so let's just have some Delhi delicacies.
exactly.
So
And शाम को क्या खाना है? Snehal and I are still deciding, and some of you all have said chole bhature, so that seems like a winner. But y'all can also suggest to us what to eat. So that is on an unusual day like today. But on a usual day, what I eat is eggs in the morning at noon, actually. So I have breakfast at noon. And it's almost always eggs. So that's my first meal, and then my second meal is some sort of chicken and sabzi. So either, so that's very very like brief explanation of what I eat. Um,
so when Nupur says she does low carb, people just feel, हाँ ये तो ठीक है, but she doesn't eat, like any grains. So no roti, no chapati, no lentils also. Like she doesn't have any dal. I think you don't even have any fruits, right?
yeah,
Like, or
yeah,
you have
only
anything,
berries.
berries,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe like they're super low carb.
yeah,
So yeah, so that's her, like her routine and what she eats. And we have a lot of low carb options, a lot of low carb recipes on the Blue Circle Diabetes app as well.
yeah,
If you go in the app and you click on the three lines on the left hand side, there's a recipe section. All the wonderful recipes given by our community members. So आप वहां जाके भी recipes ले सकते हैं ना. Facebook group is a wonderful resource. बहुत सारे recipes के options है shared by the mothers and like people living with diabetes, and how the recipe has not impacted the blood sugars, and really delicious recipes, like
yeah,
easy to make and like quick to do. So you don't have to, like think or like do a lot of prep for it. तो आप फेसबुक ग्रुप पे भी अगर सर्च करेंगे लो कार्ब रेसिपी या सिर्फ रेसिपी से भी सर्च करेंगे तो आपको बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे.
correct.
So that is it. And I think for me, I follow like a moderate carb diet.
Yeah,
Like I'm not particular the way Nupur is. Sometimes if I feel like having something, I do have it. But there are few strict rules, like so no soft drinks. I don't have milk, no maida. So these are a few
yeah,
things that I strictly follow by. And other than that, I'm like okay with a little bit of, like if I'm going low, I may have a biscuit or two. And I will not be afraid to, kind of taste something. But then I know my self control,
yeah,
like the tasting doesn't become like a full fledged meal.
yeah,
So you have to be a little conscious about, like what you're eating, how much you're eating. I think moderation is the key,
correct,
and portion control as well.
correct. So I'm just catching up on
Yeah.
Chandan's message, and he says, "I'm the father of a 9-year-old T1D. What do you usually have in your daily routine to maintain sugar below 200?" Great question, actually, Chandan, because maintaining sugars below 200, no doubt, is a result of food, but it's also a result of many other things. It could be, sometimes when it's very hot. In my case, my blood sugar spikes. If I go out in the heat, this kind of heat, the May wali garmi, my blood sugar will spike like crazy. And then when I come back home or indoors, it'll come back to normal. So does the same thing happen with you,
I
Snehal?
think for me, it's a little bit of seasonal change.
Okay.
So once the season changes, I do see my body kind of taking a few days to adapt. And also, like, we both were recently traveling. So
Yeah.
my travel was a little, like stressful because I felt sick. and I think my body is still kind of adapting after the sickness and after the travel. And obviously I was solo traveling, so it was like an added stress as well.
Correct.
So yes, my body is kind of still adapting to it, but stress is also a major factor, like that's what I wanted to highlight. And these days, like since last 3 4 days, सुबह में मेरे बॉडी बहुत इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंट रहती है, एंड देन शाम को इट स्टार्ट्स एक्टिंग प्रॉपरली, लाइक शाम को सारा इंसुलिन एक साथ काम कर रहा है या फुल पोटेंशियल पे काम कर रहा है. सो आई बीन हैविंग लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ लाइक अ रोलर कोस्टर. सुबह में हाई जा रहा है, शाम को लो जा रहा है. सो दैट्स बीन माई सीन. बट एंड आई बीन स्ट्रगलिंग विद इट, आई बीन फ्रस्ट्रेटेड विद इट कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, कब सही होगा. But I've decided to take it slow, like just let it be.
Makes sense.
And not stress about it too much, because that stress was again adding to the high sugars.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. So yes, I think I'm taking it slow, and I think now my body's kind of settling into it, and I'm like, okay, thank God.
Yeah. That's nice. And then Chinmay, hi Chinmay, hi Sudhanshu, good to see you guys.
Hello, hi.
And Priyanka, I hope that our different perspectives give you some sort of suggestions. I mean, give you some sort of insight, and if you found it helpful or there's something else you want to specifically know, happy to like chat with you. Chinmay says it's a what if situation. Like, what if you don't treat your hyper and hypo? If you don't take a correction dose? It's the question asked by many friends. What will happen if your sugar goes more than 250, not for a longer time?
Nupur, you want to take
Yeah,
this
yeah.
up?
So, great thought, right? What if I just don't check? Because some days you're like, जाने दो, आज मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है. And it happens, right? Those kind of things, do happen. Things don't always go as per plan. So, what if your sugar goes extremely high? What if you haven't taken insulin? It'll go to 250, it'll go to 500, it'll go to 600. At some point, you'll probably get hospitalized because you'll go into, diabetic ketoacidosis, or what we call DKA. But I know you specifically asked about like 250, in that kind of range. What happens if your sugar hangs around 250? And the answer is nothing much, but it depends for how long. If your sugar is 250 for really long, like for 10 hours, you'll just feel miserable, you'll not feel like yourself. And I was observing this today, like I just raged bolus sometime back, and rage bolus means basically taking insulin because you're frustrated and you've taken more insulin and you know that you could get a hypo. And so, hypo ki tayari mein, here are all the sugar ke packets that we are sitting with. Um, but some days are tough. So yeah, coming back to what happens if it's 250 for a long time, for a couple of hours, you'll just feel sick, you'll feel miserable. Like for me, even if my blood sugar goes 150, I don't feel optimum, like I feel a little lethargic. I can feel like overall I'm not feeling as sort of, I don't know what to call it, but I'm not feeling good. I can also see when I use my glucometer to check, when my blood sugar is high, my blood is a lot thicker. And if my blood sugar is normal or if I'm hypo, I can see the difference in the viscosity of my blood, So, like for me, this is what I feel like when I'm high. I'm just miserable. I feel cranky and irritable. And
I
how
think
about,
those are the common
yeah,
high symptoms,
yeah,
like you feel a little bit of brain fog, you
yeah,
feel like you're not productive enough. And especially if you're working from office, or, in an important meeting, or like
correct.
school events or college events, I think that's when you don't want your sugars to be at a high or a low.
Yeah,
I think the other thing that Nupur always says is like if your sugars are high, there will not be an immediate impact, but
yeah,
your body starts doing this, like changes at the micro level, like at that level, and you will not see those that impact or that result or the damage immediately, but then that accumulates, keeps on accumulating, and that's how, like organ damage starts happening. Organ damage
correct.
doesn't happen over the night. It's
Exactly.
like an cumulative of like accumulation of everything. All the times your sugars were high, like all the times you didn't take a correction dose or something like that.
Yeah.
So like just to summarize and answer to your question is like, not, you will not see an immediate impact if you don't take a correction dose, or like and this is specifically for high, like for high sugar. For hypo, you're definitely going to see an immediate result. Like if you don't treat your hypo, the worst thing is like you're going to get unconscious.
Yeah.
And if there's no one around you, then it becomes difficult, like you'll have to be hospitalized, given sugar through IV. And if there's no one around, then it can also be fatal, so it's
Correct.
it's very, very important that you treat your low sugars immediately, like don't wait. And for high sugars, no immediate impact, but at the longer run, you will see the difference of the damage.
And then there's one question by Sheetal, which I think is apt for Snehal to answer because we were discussing this today. आज हम cab में थे और इसी की बात चल रही थी, Sheetal. Why does the same food require more insulin in the morning and less during the evening?
So I just talked about this, like I've been feeling highly insulin resistant in the morning, So usually, otherwise also our bodies, because of the hormones that our bodies release this when we wake up, like there's, I don't know the names exactly, but your body's kind of prepping for the
Mm.
day, that you have a lot of things to do. So there's a lot of hormones that your body releases, and that's why your body generally in the morning is in an insulin resistant state.
Yeah.
सो जो इंसुलिन आपको 30 मिनट्स में काम कर रहा है या 20 मिनट्स में काम कर रहा है, उसको शायद 10-15 मिनट ज्यादा लगेंगे काम करने के लिए. But for me, since the last 3-4 days, it's been taking a really long time. I mean, insulin starts working for me it like in an hour, like Novo Rapid, and then I don't feel like it's working in its full efficacy. धीरे धीरे काम कर रहा है, शुगर नीचे नहीं आ रही है. And like Nupur said कि उस frustration में we sometimes keep on, like माइक्रो बोलसिंग द करेक्शन डोज, दो दो
Yeah.
दो दो यूनिट करके पता चलता है कि 3 घंटे में हमने 10 यूनिट तो ऐसे ही लगा लिया, शुगर नीचे नहीं आ रही है. So there could be a couple of reasons. There could be dawn phenomena. There could be stress, or it could be just a one-off instance. Like for me, I know because of my travel. Like after the travel, my body usually takes 3-4 days to settle down. So I'm waiting for my body to settle down, and I know it's frustrating. I know it's like gets to you, and I have also raised bolus. Like day before yesterday, I went like really, really low. I think below 35.
Mm.
So yes, just a reminder for everyone that diabetes is not easy. It will not follow a rule book all days. So sometimes just take it slow,
Yeah.
like let your body take its time, rest a little bit, don't stress about it. But if you see this continuing for 3 or 4 days, then you have to like sit down and figure out कि किसके वजह से ये चीजें हो रही है, like किसकी वजह से ज्यादा इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस हो रहा है.
Yeah.
क्या वो स्ट्रेस है, क्या वो डॉन है, या फिर अगर आपको सुबह उठ के थोड़ा इंसुलिन देना पड़ रहा है टू काइंड ऑफ लाइक कवर द हाई. तो ये सब चीजें हम कर सकते हैं. आई थिंक आई होप दैट आंसर्स योर क्वेश्चन, शीतल. Okay, I think fruits has triggered a lot of questions. So you're restricting foods like apple, guava, melons. It is because of spikes or something else. He carries 2 boxes of fruit, apple and guava. Should I continue or restrict?
Okay, so Chandan, here's like my suggestion. Um, should you continue or should you restrict depends on you. Until your child is grown up, you're his, de facto like pancreas, right? And then he'll start making his own decisions about whether to have or not have. And I can see that your doctor said no to banana, date, chiku. There's no right or wrong answer. Even if you do eat dates and bananas, you bolus for it. But over the years, I have realized that you can eat anything. You can eat chocolate, you can eat sugar wala, chocolate, you can eat any kind of fruit. खा तो सकते हैं, but then what happens afterwards? How hard is it to manage your sugars? You know, so that is up to you. For me now, my blood sugar target is 70 to 120. So I don't want to go below 70. And अभी मैंने just sugar इसलिए खाया because my blood sugar was high sometime back. I took a little extra insulin, knowing fully well that I can go low, and so I fixed it. So while Snehal was talking to you guys, before I get a hypo, I can see my CGM going downwards. I've eaten 2 packets of sugar. So basically, that's really your call. What you feel is good for your child. um, I now feel after so many years that it's better to be a little bit disciplined from the start. But some people feel very strongly about, I want to eat XYZ thing, तो फिर खा लो, no problem. But you should know what your goal is. Set a goal for your A1C, set a goal for your your time in range, on an everyday basis, where you want to be, what's that range, 70 to what, you know and then experiment and keep checking whether something works for you or not. And like Snehal was just saying, there's also like certain times of the day when you'll be insulin resistant, such as the morning, or when children are growing up, they have growth hormones in the body which cause spikes. So there are a lot of factors that you'll have to balance and see, and children also play a lot. So maybe they can, have a fruit, and it may not really affect them too much. So
And I think it's also important to know how each fruit is working for your
yeah,
BGs.
yeah.
Because for me, one whole apple, like a medium sized apple, I don't need insulin for that. But I know a lot of people, even for half a apple, they need insulin.
Hmm.
So it's important ये जानना कि हर बॉडी अलग है, हर बॉडी के ऊपर एक सेम खाने का असर अलग हो सकता है. So it's important to know that. So the only thing that you can do is constantly monitor before eating the fruit, after eating the fruit, how your blood sugars are, and then you can accordingly decide if you want to eat it, if you don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
Another thing, quick reminders like chiku, even banana, watermelon, mangoes, very high in sugars. For the longest time, I did not know that watermelons are high in sugars. I thought it's just a watery fruit, and pura bowl bhar ke main khati thi. And I think it's been like almost a decade now that I realized. And when I came to know, I was like shocked. I thought कि मैं तो इतने साल से T1 हूँ तो मुझे सब पता होगा. But just a reminder that do give a Google search on like the glycemic index of the fruits, and accordingly you can decide.
Hi Radhika, good to see you. And Radhika has thrown a real googly at us, huh, Snehal? Radhika is saying, what should we do for a good, healthy, and happy life? Radhika, ये question तो I think आप ही बताओ अभी, because it's a tough one, right? Like, I mean, it is so difficult. अगर if you get very stressed by every little हर hypo और हर hyper में अगर आप बहुत stress हो जाते हो, that will impact your mental health. But अगर आप stress लेते ही नहीं हो and you're constantly, your blood sugars are high, that is going to impact all of your organs. So finding that balance, right, that is so important, that this is important, you have to take your correction dose. And coming to Chandan's question about, is there any impact if the number of correction doses are more? Sometimes multiple bolus doses are required. Short answer, no impact, as long as you know what you're doing, and you know that मैंने सपोजिंग आपका लास्ट करेक्शन डोज लिया था 3 बजे, एंड नाउ इट्स 5 o'clock, और नाउ इट्स लाइक 5:30. So you have to calculate, if you're on fast acting insulin like Novorapid or Humalog or Apidra or Fiasp, then these insulins last for about 3 to 4 hours. So make your calculation and take a dose accordingly. Ideally take a dose after 4 hours, but we don't always follow that rule. Like आज हम दोनों ने भी we took correction doses in less than 4 hours. So make a calculated decision as to, sometimes you need to do it, and when you do it, then like Snehal said, just keep an eye on your CGM and or on your glucometer. But any tips, Snehal, for our audience about like how to be happy and healthy?
I think that's like a ongoing question always. Like you're always fighting with your internal self of like ye khao ki nahi khao,
Yeah.
workout karu ki nahi karu. So I think for me it's always been about balance. Like if I know that I am going to eat something high carb in the evening, so I make sure that baki ke sare meals are well balanced, rich in proteins, like less carbs.
Yeah.
So that is the way I work, and I think I have a very simple mantra when it comes to food. Because I've been a foodie all my life, and it's very difficult for me. It's a mental challenge actually to say no to food, which I'm working on. So the simple thing is like when I take the whole plate of my food,
Yeah.
of my meal in one go. And when I see my plate, I have to see, like at least 50% proteins in that plate, and then some salad. So just one portion of carbs. And I stick to, like one grain at a time, either chapati or rice. I don't mix both of them together.
Yeah.
So that also helps a little bit because I know there's just one grain which is working at
Makes
a time.
sense. Yeah.
And like there's one katori dal, some salad, one, and I prefer rice. I think rice works well for my body. So I prefer rice. I completely avoid outside restaurant chapati because there's always some maida in it. So I avoid that, and a good portion of like some sort of protein, either meat, eggs are like the best option, or like paneer or tofu or something of that sort, whatever works for you or whatever you like.
Yeah.
And like I love sabzi, like so
Yeah.
I take like a big portion of sabzi. So this is like when I talk about all these things, like it's a very filling meal. you don't need to kind of even refill your plate again.
Yeah.
So if you just have this whole plate at one go, and you know, like, you kind of train your mind ki itna hi khana hai, you know,
Mm.
so you start accepting that and you start eating like properly. So that has worked really well for me.
Yeah, I think, when I was little and I used to eat like roti and sabzi both, I used to always love even then
Yeah,
more sabzi.
sabzi,
Like I
yeah,
always would
yeah,
be like, I want more
sabzi,
bhindi or whatever, like,
yeah, yeah.
But what's your favorite sabzi, वैसे?
There's this sabzi that we make, you know, like, so I love methi,
Yeah,
like methi and besan.
yeah, yeah.
But मेरे घर पे ना मेथी का सब्जी बना के you add eggs on top of it
Wow,
and you mix it together.
that
So
sounds
that's like
delicious.
amazing. Like if
Yeah.
if you ask me like what is that one sabzi you can eat for the rest of your life, it's going to be this methi and egg.
Oh my God,
And I
I
know
have to try
not
it out.
not a lot of people know about it. They usually, you
True.
know, like make methi ka dal
Yeah,
or methi and besan, you know.
yeah,
But I don't know who taught my mom, but it's been in my family and I just love it. And whoever I've introduced this dish to, they
yeah,
also love it equally well. And like if that is the sabzi, then पूरे plate में आधा मैं सब्जी रख देती हूँ, you know, and then this dal and then there's some rice, you know, like
yeah.
that.
So do you put like methi, besan, and
No, no, no.
anda? Or
Methi and
okay,
besan is a separate
separate
thing.
dish. Okay.
But then obviously, if you don't put, if just besan, the protein is less,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
correct.
So we add a lot of eggs. Like you cook the methi ka sabzi the way you do
हाँ,
it. पूरा पकने के बाद उसमें जितने अंडे चाहिए डाल दो.
okay,
And then you just like
mix it up.
mix it up. तो
Yeah,
वो
yeah,
अंडा वैसे भी it just cooks, you know. The
correct,
sabzi is
correct.
hot.
Yeah,
So it cooks and then you just have it, you know. Yeah. Okay, let's see what more questions are there.
this one's for you.
Which one?
Which variety of
Variety of
rice?
rice. So we stick to basmati rice. I think after a lot of trial and error, I realized basmati has like a gradual, you know, like a very slow
Mm.
spike for me. But also like this is different for different people, you know. Like काफी लोगों को rice नहीं suit करता है, काफी लोगों को rice से spike होता है. For me, I see like multigrain chapati, you know, like that spikes a lot
Mm.
as compared to rice. So if I have the option to pick between chapati or rice, I always pick rice, you know.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
we always like make basmati rice. I think that's the best. I think that's available. There's also another option that a lot of people do is like you cook the rice one day before
Yeah,
and then you recook it the next day. I think that reduces the starch quantity in the rice and gives you like a smoother graph, you know, like it
mm.
doesn't spike. धीरे धीरे करके शुगर बढ़ती है तो आपका ग्राफ थोड़ा ऐसे जाता है rather than going like this, you know. So वो भी एक तरीका है, आप ट्राई कर सकते हैं. But yeah, I go for basmati.
So Radhika is gonna try your suggestion. I think Radhika is gonna try the methi, and Radhika photo भेजना जब आप try करोगे methi वाला dish. I need to. Snehal has told me about this before, but when I go back home, I forget, to try it, and then when I meet her again, I remember. Okay, so Parul says if my post dinner is 120, it will cause me hypo. What should I eat to prevent this? So Parul, you should not be eating to prevent a hypo. You should be adjusting your dose to prevent a hypo, especially when your post dinner is 120. So if you finish your dinner by, let's say, 8 p.m., I'm just giving an example, then you've taken your shot at maybe 7 or 7:30. That shot will get, that Novorapid or Humalog or whatever will get over by 11 o'clock, or 12 o'clock. And then if your sugar is 120, ideally you should not go hypo if your basal is set correctly. So if you're having to eat zabardasti because you're afraid that hypo aa jayega, there's something wrong with your dose. So the dose needs to be relooked. But I also know that for you it's been about 1 year, and it's possible that in case you're like sort of a lada. I know you say you're T1, but if your beta cells are still active and they're making insulin, so that's something that then you'll have to check. But generally speaking, if you're getting hypos outside of active insulin time, then you need to look at your basal.
So a lot of things, you know, like specifically Q hypo RA is a big question, you know. So two things like Nupur said, एक तो bolus जो है आपका adjust करके देखिए, 1 यूनिट कम करके देखो, 2 यूनिट कम करके देखो.
Yeah.
And if that is also not working, अगर आप bolus कम करके sugar एकदम high हो रहा है, so that means there's a problem with the basal. So basal आप कम करके देख सकते हैं. Okay, hi Vikram.
Hi Sanjeevni.
Hello. So
Chinmay
yeah,
likes basmati. It
yeah.
does sound pretty tasty.
Okay, just taking a look at the questions. I think there was a few at the top.
Seems like we've covered. Okay, there's Chandan says that my son tells me when blood sugar is low, 50, 60, he feels it. But if his sugar's at 250 or 300, pata nahi chalta hai because he's busy playing. That's true. And kabhi kabhi hypo mein bhi pata nahi chalta hai because, then it's called hypo unawareness. And I know there's been some posts about that recently, and it is pretty dangerous because hypo mein agar nahi pata chale to, then like we were discussing earlier, you could fall down, you could be unconscious. Um, बट द मेन थिंग इज दैट चेकिंग के अलावा ना ब्लड शुगर टेस्टिंग के अलावा there's no way out because sometimes you're busy, you're preoccupied, you're tired, you don't realize, you're hypo unaware, जो भी है. In both cases hyper में भी and hypo में भी टेस्टिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो दैट मीन्स आइदर आप ग्लूकोमीटर पे दिन में 8 बार चेक करो, या तो अगर नहीं करना है then get a CGM and that will give you a reading every couple of minutes.
And
So
also like if you're playing there's an adrenaline rush in the body, तो वो टाइम पे हाइपो और हाइपर का पता नहीं चलता है.
yeah.
So you have to be extra cautious. And अगर how are your son's readings otherwise, like if they are always around 200 250, तो वो body के लिए normal हो जाता है and then you don't feel the symptoms of high sugars. So try to bring your sugars in range, and then I think वो hyper sugar का जो awareness है वो आने लग जाएगा, symptoms पता चलेंगे. But also it's difficult when you're playing, like adrenaline rush will always, it will subdue your hypo and hyper symptoms.
Yeah. And Sanjeevni says, I don't feel hungry for dinner because I have late lunch. And what options are available to munch so that my sugars are normal range in the morning? Maybe sprouts is one option. Might need a bolus. I mean, I know if I eat sprouts,
Yeah,
like, bowl bhar ke, I'll
definitely need,
definitely need a bolus. What
but there are a
else?
lot of options, you can have like a cheese cube or a cheese slice or roasted peanuts, like masala peanuts,
Yeah.
roasted almonds. And nowadays there are a lot of, like low carb options also which are available, which keep you full. You can have makhana, like there are a lot of options which are available. But Sanjeevni, you need to kind of relook कि आपका late lunch क्यों हो रहा है. Maybe you can, try to figure out a routine, like a cycle for your meals, so that you feel hungry when it's dinner time, or if you're intentionally doing it because you want to skip dinner, then you can pick any of the low carb options.
Yeah, even like papad na Snehal, जो पापड़ दाल का बनता है, that is, I mean, relatively dal also has 60% carbs, but compare it to a papad that's made of, let's say, rice or sabudana, super high carb, definite spike. But जो दाल वाला पापड़ है, like when Snehal was telling have masala peanuts, I love it. Like मेरे मुंह में पानी आने लगा that, nice sort of onions and tomatoes and masala peanuts and a little bit of lime. That sounds really delicious. You can also, put in some crushed papad or eat it however you wish, but that's another option.
Another dish I think we figured out in Kigali was avocado and cheese.
Yeah.
Like I've never had avocado before, like just raw avocado. But we saw it in one shop and Nupur was like, we have to buy it and we have to try, like African avocados.
Yeah.
And we bought them, and then at the hotel also I think there was some cheese and that, and I loved it,
Yeah.
I think super low carb keeps you filled also, like healthy also.
Exactly.
So just cut avocados and like have a cheese, little bit of cheese on top of it and eat it.
Yeah.
That's also a good option. If I skip my dinner, what can be? Okay, that's the same question. Yeah. So there are a lot of options, I think, for which will not impact your blood sugars, like low carb options. You just have to pick and choose whatever you like. Because I did not like cheese. I think Nupur has put me on a lot of low carb options. Like I didn't eat cheese aise hi, like
But
cheese
why?
cubes.
Like you didn't like cheese?
I don't know. I like in my head it was always like, yaar, isko sandwich ke sath hi khana hai, like that.
Yeah.
And then I started having it little by little, and then I was like, wow, why didn't I have it before? Like, so it's good to talk and like learn what other friends are eating, and just try them out. And like I think Nupur also put me on mushrooms, like for the longest time I was like, I don't like mushrooms, but now I just love them,
Wow.
like
they are amazing,
yeah,
right?
they're
Like they're so
amazing.
good. And I know Snehal makes these like Italian flavored,
Yeah.
like things that she puts like herbs and stuff. And like there's just so much you can do with mushroom. And similarly with paneer, right?
Yes.
These things don't have that much taste of their own, so they take on the taste of what you mix with it. So chahe aap paneer mein, like you make like a paneer tikka or a sabzi or a gravy or a dry paneer, And the same with mushrooms, whatever you put in it, it like absorbs that flavor.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chinmay says I always had problems gaining weight, and so recently I started eating 5 to 6 bananas a day and 7 egg whites, and at some I eat these at some time intervals with my gym routine. So, do you know another way to gain weight? Yes, there are a couple of like pointers that come to mind. One is whatever your HbA1c is, better it. You know, when you keep your HbA1c in a tight non-diabetic range, automatically you'll be able to gain muscle. And I'm assuming you want to gain muscle and not like weight,
Yeah.
and you don't want to, you know, go the other side and you know, go from being like sort of like underweight to being overweight. That would be a different problem. So you know, to like also eat more protein. So one is HbA1c control, second is eat more protein. If you do eat non-veg, then definitely, you know, go for more eggs. Eat whole eggs. Whole eggs are, you
Yeah.
know, have more protein than just egg whites. Eat meat, you know, so that is also
And
something
I
that,
think also exercising, like lifting weights and
yeah,
like strength training, that trains your muscles, so it's easier to lose fat and gain the muscles that we all want, like. And it's equally important for men and women both, like women as such, they are afraid to kind of lift weights. But I would highly recommend to just get a pair of dumbbells from Amazon, just like 1.5 kg, and just try lifting, and
yeah,
then women will realize that they don't have the energy
correct,
to even lift 1 kg dumbbell, and it's very important for women because as we grow older we start reducing the muscle mass. It just keeps on going away, just fades into non-existence, and it's easier to gain fat, so it's important for women to like focus more on like like resistance training or weightlifting. I'm not saying like go and lift 100 kg of weight, but start small, like start with 1 kg, 1.5 kg. Even if you're going to the gym, I see a lot of like older women also like not like they just don't look at the weights,
yeah,
but it's like,
that's true,
very very important for women. Always want to advocate for this, that don't just think that you're going to bulk up or like you become like a bodybuilder. That's not going to happen, like
yeah,
that requires a complete separate training and like workout and a diet.
correct.
But for women, I want you all to focus on like resistance training, strength training, weightlifting.
And I remember last Sunday we did this workshop with Nairi, you know,
Yeah.
and she was also mentioning the same thing, that very very important for women to do weight training. And weight training isn't about, like Snehal said, you know, you don't want to be a you know, you're not trying to be some bodybuilder or anything, but at least आपके घर पे अगर कोई डब्बा है या you know, अगर कुछ ऊपर रखा हुआ है at a height, or you want to pick something up, or you want to carry a heavy bag and take it to your house, you need that much strength in your muscles to be able to do it. So you know, for as young people, I think it's good to get your body into that habit already, so that, you know, lifelong then it becomes a habit. You know, actually, Snehal, when you were talking about mushrooms and cheese, I was just thinking of my mom, and here she is.
Yeah, I saw a
Yeah,
comment.
because my mother also, you know, used to not like mushrooms and cheese as much. I always wonder, how can somebody not like mushrooms and cheese? And that's why I asked you, and I asked my mom all the time the same thing.
But I think mushroom is a good addition, like I think they are rich in proteins,
Yeah,
magnesium, so, and you can mix it with anything and everything, like you can add it in eggs, you can add it just or just stir fry it, and like Nupur said, I love adding, like either Chinese like Chinese condiments or Italian herbs or everything, and it just completely changes the flavor, like so you get an Indian as well, so I do this three masalas:
yeah,
Indian, Chinese, and Italian, and then you like have three different dishes ready.
exactly. So Chinmay has an excellent A1C 5.2. That is
Yeah, that's
amazing.
great.
That's really, really good. And then, you know, like Snehal was saying, maybe give yourself some time with the strength training and the gymming that you're doing. Give yourself a target, like, you know, maybe relook your sort of composition of your body and your muscles in 3 months, in 6 months.
Yeah.
Eat more protein, and then eat, you know, like I would say, eat at least 1 gram per, you know,
Mm.
per kilo.
Yeah.
And then if you're gymming and you know, exercising more, then you can sort of increase that quantity as well, and you know, get as much as you can from food. And if you can't make your target from food, then you can also have protein powders and other things like that.
I think we had a wonderful discussion on protein powders on in the Mumbai meetup as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of questions on protein powder, lena chahiye, nahi lena chahiye, you know. So it's always important to read the labels.
Correct.
Because recently I tried the protein powders by Cosmic Wellness. I brought the sachets, you know, just to try it out. And they had marketed it saying, you know, like 23 grams of protein per sachets.
Oh.
But then I saw the carb and the sugars, and they were like, I think 25 or 28 grams of carbs and sugars.
Oh.
So, you know, like that just counteracts the protein, you know, like,
correct.
and obviously, the first day I did not like inject, I did not bolus anything for the protein powder, but I could definitely see a spike, you know. So it's always important to read the labels of your protein powder as well. Like, just don't go by the marketing,
Yeah.
because they will only market the protein which is there, but the
Correct.
hidden thing for us is the carbs and the sugars.
Yeah.
So for Cosmic Wellness, I definitely needed to bolus for that, you know, like,
Yeah.
because if I didn't bolus, I could see the spike after an hour or so, you know.
Yeah. Snehal, your recipe is in demand. Please tell your recipe of Chinese
Yeah.
and Italian both.
Yeah, there's the recipe. I've put it up in the Blue Circle Diabetes app, the recipes section. There's like a picture and, you know, like an estimate of how much macros are there in it. And I think I've put the Italian version over there, you know, like. So I just cook all the vegetables, I just stir fry them, you know, and then I add, you know, like if you have a pasta mix, or you have oregano, chili flakes, or, you know, like, and pepper and salt. It's very simple, you know, like, doesn't take a lot of time. And if you want to make it Chinese, you just add, you know, like all the sauces, soya sauce, dark soya, light soya. You get this green chili, red chili sauces, and, you know, but with Chinese sauces, you have to be a little careful because the sauces do have some sugar in it, you know. So that is there, and you just stir fry it, add a little water so you can make it soupy.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like not soupy, like dry if you want, like that. And Indian masala, to see, one trick I always use for Indian masala is to add biryani masala in everything, you know.
Acha.
That's that makes it spicy and it becomes like double yummy, you know, like with the normal masala, like, you know, like I usually add this kanda lasan powder,
Yeah,
you know, like
I was just gonna say, like, it makes everything better, right?
makes
Like,
better. And you know, like how you add सब कुछ स्वाद के अनुसार डालते हैं, कांदा लहसुन पाउडर add it like, you know, like इच्छा के अनुसार, you know, like what I'm feeling, I just add it, like अरे 2 चम्मच 3 चम्मच. But if I usually like spicy food, you know, and if I want that extra tadka to my food, you know, like I just add like like 1 spoon, like 1 tablespoon of like biryani masala. It obviously a little spicy, you know. So if you cannot handle that, just stick to your kanda lasan powder, you know, like
yeah,
like that.
yeah. And so I'm realizing that we're slowly coming to time, and also
Yeah.
Snehal and I have to run for a coffee catch up in Delhi. So if anyone from Delhi is watching this, I hope you're on the way. And I hope you're going to meet us because we've come all the way to Delhi. So, you know, Zarur Mile Humse Delhi mein. We are at Nehru Place, and we are going to, you know, after this workshop, we're literally going to take a 5-minute walk down to the Starbucks at Nehru Place. So that's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing I wanted to also say was that if you all have any last questions or comments, now is the time to put it because we are wrapping up. Um, we are already 45 minutes in, and you know, I think we've had a nice interaction.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, we went free flowing, and we were just thinking, you know, kya baat karenge. So that was another. And the third thing is that so, you know, we had this discussion last night on our Pune group, and I'm just saying this out loud for everyone else who's not on that group and still may be interested to know. So last year, October या November में, we had circulated a form across social media, across you know, WhatsApp, everywhere, and we had asked for your support. And आप में से बहुत लोगों ने support किया था, वो form भरा था, and what that form was, you know, we were reaching out to the WHO, the World Health Organization, and we were telling them that please add analog insulins to the EML. Now, if you're wondering what is analog insulin means rapid acting insulin.
Like your Nova Rapid,
Exactly.
Lispro, you know, like that.
Yeah, like Nova Rapid or Lispro or Humalog or whatever. So all those insulins are pretty expensive. So we wrote to the WHO saying, please, isko aap essential medicine list pe dalo so that the price comes down, so that it becomes a little more affordable. So that was one phase one of the activity that happened. Then last month, we submitted a formal letter on behalf of everyone, all of you. We submitted a letter to the WHO saying that we really think that you need to put this on the EML, which is the essential medicine list. And when a drug goes on that list, what happens is that is there is a certain cap on the pricing. So a lot of people have been saying Humalog ka price बढ़ते जा रहा है, it's too much, it's like, I don't know, 3,500, I don't even remember what, but we should complain, we should say something, but we should also do something that leads to, a possible price reduction, and this is one of those things. So we wrote that letter, and now the WHO is called for a meeting. So kal ke din ek meeting has been there's a meeting that's been convened, and in that meeting we are going to be talking for 3 minutes. We have only 3 minutes of time, and those 3 minutes we are going to be pitching our case, we're going to be pushing our requirement, and we're going to say that on behalf of all of the Indian organizations, for diabetes, we are representing all of these people in India, and please, put these analog insulins on this list. And if and when that happens, the prices of things will go down. So this is an ongoing effort, and it's something that you all should know is happening, and we will send you more photographs and updates and everything. But Snehal, am I missing anything else?
No, I think
Or
that was a big update for tomorrow. I think hopefully we'll see some good results out of it. And we're looking forward to it. A lot of work has happened behind the scenes for that. Like Nupur mentioned, since a year we have been, like behind them. And tomorrow we finally have our chance to speak on behalf of the Indian diabetes community. And yes, let's hope we can see some fruition on this. And yes, I think with that we are good to wrap this workshop, and I think we should do this more often.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
should
it was
also
fun.
meet more often.
Yes.
बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि स्नेहल और मैं मतलब I don't know साथ में रहते होंगे या we are all, but we're not even in the
Yeah,
same city. But
yeah.
anyway, thank you all for joining, and lots of lovely comments. We are really enjoying reading your comments. So comments डालने के लिए thank you, and join करने के लिए thank you, and see you next Sunday 5 p.m. And enjoy your Sunday. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.